Welcome to the chosen one. Why are they staring at you like you broke the laws of physics? Why do their eyes linger on your face like they're trying to solve a puzzle that doesn't make sense? Why does your very presence make them question everything they thought they knew about time, aging, and what's supposed to happen to people like you? Chosen one. They thought time would humble you. Instead, it crowned you. And now they can't stop staring because your very existence has become a glitch in their reality. Listen to me carefully. What's happening to you isn't random. That confused look in their eyes when they see you, that's not admiration. That's conviction. You're walking around looking like time forgot to touch you, glowing like pain never found you, moving like the weight of this world never broke you. And it's messing with their entire understanding of how life is supposed to work. If you've ever had someone look at you like you were breaking the rules of time, like you're aging in reverse while they're falling apart, drop a 777 in the comments right now, so heaven knows you heard this message, because what I'm about to reveal will shake you to your core. You are like an oak tree in winter. Everyone expected bare branches. Everyone waited for you to wither, but somehow you're still blooming. While they're wilting under pressure, you're flourishing under fire. While they're breaking down, you're breaking through. And before we go deeper, thank you to every single one of you who has supported this message through Super Thanks. Your generosity means more than you know. You're not just donating. You're helping spread light to others who feel alone in their calling. Whether you give or not, I'm deeply grateful for your presence here, your support, your time, your attention. It all matters. And if this message resonates with your soul, go ahead. In the next few minutes, I'm going to show you exactly why your age and your glow are not just a mystery, they are a divine weapon. I'm going to reveal why the enemy is terrified of what you've become, why your face is a prophecy in motion, and why every year you've survived has made you more dangerous to the kingdom of darkness. Because chosen one, they thought they were watching you age. They had no idea they were witnessing your ascension. Stay locked in. Your time is now. Have you been programmed to believe that your best days are behind you? Have you swallowed the poison that says your value decreases with every birthday candle? Have you accepted the world's cruel whisper that at your age, you should be grateful just to be invisible? Let me destroy that lie right now. The world has been feeding you a script written in hell, and it's time you burned it. Society has convinced you that youth equals value and age equals decline. They've sold you the narrative that once you hit a certain number, you're supposed to fade into the background, shrink your dreams, lower your voice, and accept mediocrity as your ceiling. They want you to believe that wrinkles are failures, that gray hair is surrender, that slower steps mean you're walking toward irrelevance. But here's what they don't want you to know. This is the biggest lie ever told to humanity. The kingdom of darkness has weaponized ageism against you because they know something you've forgotten. They know that with age comes wisdom, with years comes authority, with survival comes power, and they're terrified of what you become when you stop believing their lies and start walking in your truth. You see, the enemy doesn't fear your youth, he fears your maturity. He doesn't fear your inexperience, he fears your seasoning. He's not threatened by your potential, he's paralyzed by your proven strength. They counted you out at the exact moment heaven was counting you in. While the world was writing your obituary, God was writing your greatest chapter. While they were measuring your decline, the Almighty was preparing your divine assignment. You thought you were getting older, but heaven knew you were getting ready. Look at Moses, 80 years old, when God called him to lead a nation out of bondage. 8 decades of preparation for one moment of purpose. The burning bush didn't appear to a 20-year-old shepherd. It blazed before a man who had walked through deserts of disappointment and emerged with unshakable faith. Look at Sarah, 90 years old, when she laughed at God's promise, then carried the miracle that would birth nations. Her womb wasn't dead. It was dormant, waiting for divine timing. What the world called impossible, heaven called inevitable. Look at Caleb, 85 years old, standing before Joshua saying, "Give me this mountain." While younger men trembled at giants, this elder warrior was sharpening his sword. Age didn't weaken his resolve. It strengthened his confidence in God's faithfulness. The pattern is clear. God's greatest victories come through vessels the world has already written off. But you've been listening to the wrong voice. You've been measuring your worth by a culture that worships youth and discards wisdom. You've been seeing yourself through the eyes of a society that values appearance over anointing, energy over experience, potential over proven character. They see wrinkles. God sees rings in the tree trunk, proof you've survived storms they couldn't stand through. Every line on your face is a testimony. Every silver strand is a crown of glory. Every slower step carries the weight of wisdom earned through battles fought and won. You've been dismissed, overlooked, underestimated. They've made you feel like your time has passed, like your voice doesn't matter, like your dreams expired with your youth. Family members talk over you. Employers pass you by. Society treats you like yesterday's news. But here's the truth that's about to set your soul on fire. They're not dismissing you because you're weak. They're dismissing you because you're dangerous. You carry something they can't buy, can't fake, can't manufacture: authentic power. The kind that comes from walking through hell and choosing heaven. The kind that emerges from betrayal and chooses trust. The kind that rises from loss and chooses hope. Your age isn't your expiration date, it's your coronation day. Every year you've survived has added another layer of unshakable strength to your foundation. Every decade has deepened your roots. Every season has refined your discernment. You don't just know the truth, now you've tested it under fire and proven it unbreakable. The world fears what you've become because you represent everything their lies can't touch. You've outlasted their trends. You've outgrown their games. You've outsmarted their manipulations. You're living proof that their timeline is not God's timeline. While they're chasing youth serums and filters and surgical procedures to turn back time, you've discovered something they'll never understand. True beauty comes from the inside out. True strength comes from spiritual alignment, and true power comes from surrendering to divine purpose. They're shocked by your glow because they expected you to dim. They're confused by your energy because they thought you'd fade. They're intimidated by your confidence because they assumed you'd shrink. You've broken their algorithm. You've shattered their expectations. You've become living evidence that their script is fiction. The enemy thought, if he could just get you to believe the lie long enough, you'd accept defeat and walk quietly into irrelevance. He thought if he could convince you that your best days were behind you, you'd stop dreaming, stop believing, stop fighting for the promises God placed in your heart decades ago. But you're still here, still breathing, still believing, still becoming, and that terrifies them. If you felt invisible in a world obsessed with youth, stay with me. What I'm about to reveal will set your spirit on fire. Because the truth is, they haven't been staring at you because you're too old. They've been staring because you're just getting started. The question isn't why you're aging so gracefully. The question is, what divine assignment have you been preparing for your entire life that's about to be unveiled? Now let me break down exactly why they can't stop staring at you, why your very presence disrupts their understanding of reality. There are 5 divine reasons burning in your DNA that make you an anomaly in their world, and each one is going to hit you like lightning. Reason 1. You reversed biological decay with spiritual alignment. Listen to me, chosen one. While they've been fighting time with creams and procedures, you've been aligning with eternity itself. Those seasons when you disappeared from their world, when you went silent, withdrew, stopped showing up to their games. They thought you were broken. They whispered you were having a breakdown. But heaven knows the truth. You weren't breaking down, you were breaking through. Those weren't seasons of punishment, they were seasons of regeneration. While others poured lotion on their skin, you poured prayer into your soul. While they injected toxins to fight wrinkles, you injected faith to fight worry. While they chased youth in bottles, you found renewal in the book. And now they see the results. Your face carries peace they can't buy. Your eyes hold light they can't manufacture. Your presence radiates something that no surgeon can replicate, the glow of someone who's been touched by the divine. The Bible says in 2 Corinthians 4:16, "Though outwardly we are wasting away, yet inwardly we are being renewed day by day." You discovered that when your inner man is strong, your outer man reflects glory. Type I receive if you know alignment beats appearance. But that's just the beginning. The second reason goes deeper. Reason 2. You mastered emotional alchemy. You learned the ancient art that turns lead into gold, pain into power, wounds into wisdom. Look at your face right now. Where are the stress lines? Where are the marks of bitterness? Where are the scars of all that betrayal, all that heartbreak, all those nights you cried yourself to sleep? They're not there, and that's what shocks them. You see, most people wear their trauma like makeup, thick, obvious, impossible to miss. But you learn to transform pain at the cellular level. You don't carry your wounds on your face because you turned them into strength in your spirit. Remember David? Spent years running in caves, hiding from Saul, betrayed by friends, hunted like an animal. But when he finally walked into that palace to claim his crown, he didn't look like a refugee. He looked like royalty. Why? Because he used those cave years to worship, to write psalms, to build intimacy with God. The pain became his platform. The pressure became his preparation. That's your story. Every betrayal refined you. Every rejection redirected you. Every season of suffering was actually a season of sculpting. God was carving away everything that wasn't truly you. And the way you did it is the part they'll never understand until I tell you in a moment. Reason 3. You stopped performing for the matrix. Here's where it gets dangerous. You made the most radical decision a person can make in this performance-driven world. You stopped caring what they thought. You pulled the plug on their validation machine. You walked away from their approval addiction, and it saved your life, literally. Think about it. How many years did you lose trying to be what they wanted? How much energy did you waste performing for people who were never going to clap anyway? You were like a dam with 1,000 leaks, constantly pouring out your life force to keep everyone else's rivers flowing. But then something shifted. You realized their opinion of you was none of your business. You understood that their approval was costing you your soul. So you did what few have the courage to do. You walked away from the stage. Like pulling the plug on a leaking dam, you kept your waters. You stopped giving your energy to people who were using it against you. You stopped explaining yourself to people who were committed to misunderstanding you. And watch what happened the years they stole through stress, through people-pleasing, through constant performance anxiety. They came flooding back. Your face relaxed, your shoulders dropped, your spirit soared. You got your life back because you stopped living for their likes. If you've ever felt drained by people-pleasing, stay locked in because what's coming next will blow your mind. Reason 4. You ascended instead of declined. Society has a script for aging. They expect you to fade, to shrink, to apologize for taking up space. They want you to accept less, expect less, become less. But God's script is completely different. Look at Caleb in the Bible, 85 years old, standing before Joshua, declaring, "Give me this mountain. Not give me a rocking chair, not give me a retirement home, give me this mountain." At 85, he was ready for his biggest battle, his greatest conquest. That's you. While your peers are settling into decline, you're stepping into your divine assignment. While they're talking about slowing down, you're speeding up. While they're planning their exit, you're planning your entrance. Your youth was never your peak, it was your blueprint. Everything you experienced in your younger years was preparation for the power you carry now. The wisdom, the discernment, the spiritual authority, the unshakable faith. This is what you were building toward. Reason 5. You regenerated instead of just preserved. Here's the mystery that breaks their minds. You didn't just maintain what you had. You became something new. Those hard seasons didn't just age you, they rewired your very biology. Science is finally catching up to what the Bible always knew, that thoughts become things, that faith affects flesh, that your spiritual state determines your physical fate. When you aligned with heaven's frequency, your cells started responding to divine instructions instead of earthly decay. Time didn't rob you, it invested in you with interest. Every year of walking with God added compound interest to your countenance. Every prayer you prayed was making deposits in the bank of your beauty. Every act of forgiveness was reversing the aging process at the molecular level. The Bible says in Isaiah 40-31, "But those who wait on the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings like eagles. They shall run and not be weary. They shall walk and not faint." That word, renew it, means to rebuild, to regenerate, to make new again. You're not just well preserved. You're divinely renewed. You're not vintage, you're upgraded. You're not old, you're eternal, walking around in temporary skin that's been kissed by timeless glory. If you feel like you got better, not older, shout glory in the comments. But here's what's really going to shock you. Everything I've just revealed is only the surface. Because the real reason they can't stop staring has nothing to do with your appearance and everything to do with your assignment. Let me tell you why they stare so long. Your glow is not cosmetic, it's cosmic. You see, what's happening to you right now is shaking the very foundation of everything they thought they knew about aging, about time, about what happens to people who've been through what you've been through. They're looking at you, and their minds are trying to compute something that doesn't add up in their natural understanding. But I need you to understand something deeper. The reason their stare lingers isn't just because you look good for your age. It's because you're carrying something they can't identify, something they can't purchase, something they can't fake. You're radiating the evidence of divine intervention in human form. Listen to me carefully. While they were counting your years, God was counting your tears. While they were calculating your decline, heaven was calibrating your design. You've been touched by something beyond this realm, and it shows, not just in your face, but in your pace, not just in your skin, but in your spirit. The Bible tells us in Isaiah 40-31, "But those who wait on the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings like eagles. They shall run and not be weary. They shall walk and not faint." You want to know why you're not fading? Because you've been waiting on the Lord while others were waiting on lotions. But here's what's really happening that they can't understand, and this is going to hit you like lightning. You're not just aging gracefully, you're aging prophetically. Every year that should have broken you has instead been building you. Every season that should have weathered you has been writing on you. Not wrinkles of worry, but lines of wisdom. Not marks of defeat, but medals of victory. They're staring because they're witnessing something that defies their understanding of how trauma is supposed to mark a person. They expected you to look beaten down, worn out, used up. Instead, you look renewed, refreshed, regenerated. And that's not happening by accident. You've discovered something they're still searching for in every store, every spa, every surgery. You found the fountain of youth, and it's not in a bottle, it's in your relationship with the Most High. While they're pouring money into procedures, you've been pouring your heart into prayer. While they're chasing youth, you've been chasing truth. And now, the evidence is undeniable. But let me reveal the real twist that's going to change everything for you. They're not just shocked at your face, they're convicted by your faith. What they're really seeing when they look at you is proof that everything they've been told about aging, about decline, about what happens after 50, after 60, after 70, it's all a lie. You are walking, breathing evidence that the enemy's timeline doesn't apply to God's chosen. You are living proof that when heaven marks someone for greatness, earthly limitations become irrelevant. You are the demonstration that when God decides to preserve something, nothing can corrupt it. They thought they were looking at someone who was supposed to be invisible by now. Instead, they're looking at someone who's becoming more visible, more radiant, more powerful with each passing year. And it's messing with their entire worldview. You know what's really happening? You're not just defying age, you're defying the system. The system that says you should be declining, diminishing, disappearing. The system that profits off insecurity, that feeds off fear, that thrives on making people feel like time is their enemy. But you've discovered something revolutionary. Time isn't your enemy when eternity is your destination. Age isn't your opposition when God is your operator. Years aren't your adversary when you're aligned with the Ancient of Days. And that glow they can't stop staring at, that's not coming from a cream or a treatment. That's the reflection of someone who's been in the presence of the Almighty. That's the radiance of someone who's learned to let pain be their polish instead of their prison. That's the luminescence of someone who's discovered that every trial was actually a treatment, every test was actually a transformation. They're seeing someone who looks like they've been preserved in purpose instead of pickled in problems. Someone who looks like they've been marinated in mercy instead of marinated in misery. Someone who's been seasoned by suffering but not spoiled by it. And the most shocking part, you're just getting started. While they're planning their decline, you're experiencing your divine. While they're preparing for their sunset, you're stepping into your sunrise. While they're accepting defeat, you're accessing your destiny. This is what happens when someone stops living by the world's calendar and starts living by heaven's clock. This is what happens when someone stops measuring themselves by earthly standards and starts moving by eternal strategies. You want to know why they can't look away? Because you're a glitch in their matrix. You're proof that their programming doesn't work on God's people. You're evidence that when heaven writes your story, no earthly editor can revise it. They thought they were watching you age out. They had no idea they were witnessing you age up. They thought they were seeing decline. They were actually seeing divine design in motion. And here's what's going to blow your mind. This is just the beginning. What they're seeing now is nothing compared to what's coming. Because when God decides to showcase someone, He doesn't just restore them to where they were, He elevates them to where they've never been. You're not just getting your youth back, you're getting your truth back. You're not just reclaiming your years, you're reclaiming your yes. You're not just reversing time, you're revealing divine timing. If this is your word, hit like, so this truth finds every other chosen one scrolling in the dark tonight. Because what I'm about to show you next will prove that your shocking appearance isn't just about your past preservation, it's about your future manifestation. Your looks aren't just testimony to where you've been, they're prophecy of where you're going. And when you understand what that means, you'll realize why the enemy tried so hard to dim your light before it could shine this bright. Stay with me, because what's coming next will change everything you thought you knew about your assignment in this season of your life. Chosen one, I need you to understand something that's going to revolutionize how you see yourself forever. What's happening to your face, your energy, your entire presence? This isn't some biological accident. This isn't good genes or lucky genetics. What you're carrying is a prophetic declaration written in flesh and blood. Every line on your face is a verse in heaven's poetry. Every grey hair is silver thread woven by the Master's hand. Every mark that time has left on you isn't evidence of decay, it's proof of divine investment. You think you're getting older? No, beloved. You're getting bolder. You're getting stronger. You're getting more dangerous to the kingdom of darkness with every breath you take. But here's what's breaking my heart right now. Some of you are still looking in the mirror with shame. You're still apologizing for aging in a world that worships youth. You're still hiding your wisdom behind insecurity, dimming your light because society told you your time was up. Stop it. Stop it right now. Do you know what the enemy fears most about your generation? It's not your past, he's already tried to destroy that. It's not your present, he's losing that battle every day. What terrifies him is your future face, because every year you survive makes you more anointed, more appointed, more dangerous to his lies. Let me tell you about Joseph. For 13 years he was hidden. 13 years in prison, in obscurity, forgotten by everyone who mattered. His face aged in the shadows. His youth slipped away in silence. And then one morning, Pharaoh had a dream. One morning, everything changed. Joseph walked out of that dungeon and straight into his destiny, not as a young dreamer, but as a seasoned prophet, not as a boy with potential, but as a man with power. The years didn't diminish Joseph, they developed him. The isolation didn't weaken him, it weaponized him. When he finally stood before Pharaoh, it wasn't his youth that saved a nation. It was his maturity. It was the wisdom carved into his soul by seasons of waiting. That's you right now. You've been in your preparation season, and the world thought you were finished. They wrote you off. They counted you out. They said your best days were behind you. But heaven has been getting you ready for your Pharaoh moment. Your face isn't aging, it's arriving. Your presence isn't fading, it's graduating. But I need to warn you about something urgent. There are forces right now trying to steal your confidence before your moment comes. They're whispering lies about your relevance, your value, your time being up. They're using mirrors, magazines, and other people's opinions as weapons against your destiny. Here's what you must do, and you must do it now. Protect your peace like it's your most valuable possession, because it is. Refuse bitterness like it's poison, because it is. Steward your energy like it's sacred oil, because it is. Every ounce of energy you waste on people who don't deserve it is energy stolen from your assignment. Stop giving your power to people who can't even handle their own lives. Stop explaining yourself to minds that are already made up. Stop seeking validation from hearts that are already hardened. Your glow isn't for their approval, it's for heaven's purposes. The Bible says in Isaiah 46:4, "Even to your old age and gray hairs, I am He who will sustain you." Did you catch that? God doesn't abandon you when you age. He sustains you. He doesn't replace you when you get older. He upgrades you. Every year adds another layer of His glory to your story. But here's the part that's going to blow your mind. Your looks aren't just shocking people, they're convicting people. When they see how well you're aging, how gracefully you're growing, how powerfully you're progressing, it exposes their own spiritual decay. Your health highlights their hurt. Your peace reveals their panic. Your glow uncovers their darkness. That's why they stare. That's why they whisper. That's why they can't figure you out. You're living proof that the kingdom of God operates by different laws than the kingdom of this world. While they're deteriorating under stress, you're regenerating under the Spirit. While they're breaking down from bitterness, you're building up through blessing. And when you fully step into this truth, when you stop apologizing for your age and start celebrating your arrival, something supernatural happens. You won't just shock them with your age, you'll shock them with your assignment. Because, chosen one, your wrinkles are not weakness, they're weapons. Your gray hair is not decline, it's divine authority. Your mature face is not the end of your story, it's the beginning of your glory chapter. The world expects you to fade into the background. Heaven expects you to step into the foreground. The world wants you to whisper. Heaven wants you to roar. The world says your time is up. Heaven says your time is now. So stop hiding your age like it's a secret shame. Start wearing it like a crown of victory. Stop covering your lines like they're flaws. Start revealing them like they're testimonies. Every mark on your face is a medal of honor from battles you've won that others couldn't even survive. But this revelation comes with a responsibility that will determine whether you waste this moment or seize this moment. Listen to me, chosen one. We've journeyed together through this revelation, and now we stand at the precipice of your greatest awakening. Everything I've shared with you tonight has been building to this moment, this divine intersection where your past pain meets your present power. They thought time would humble you. Instead, time became your crown. Do you feel that? That's stirring in your spirit. That's not coincidence. That's confirmation. Because while the world was busy writing your obituary, heaven was busy writing your coronation speech. While they were counting you out, God was counting you up. While they were measuring your decline, the Almighty was calculating your ascension. But here's what's going to shock you, even more than it shocked them. The Bible declares in Psalm 92:14, "They shall still bear fruit in old age. They shall be fresh and flourishing." Did you hear that? Fresh and flourishing. Not surviving, thriving. Not enduring, excelling. Not just hanging on, but breaking through. You see, the enemy sold you a lie about aging. He whispered that your best days were behind you, that your prime was in your past, that every year forward was a year closer to irrelevance. But God's mathematics don't work like the world's mathematics. In heaven's economy, you don't depreciate, you appreciate. You are heaven's fine wine. Every year makes you rarer, stronger, more valuable. Think about this for a moment. When did Moses receive his greatest assignment? At 80 years old. When did Sarah conceive the promise? At 90. When did Caleb conquer his mountain? At 85, declaring, "I am as strong today as I was 40 years ago." These weren't accidents, they were announcements. God was declaring to every generation that his chosen ones don't fade with time, they blaze with purpose. But let me ask you something that's going to cut straight to your soul. How long are you going to let their small vision of your life eclipse God's expansive plan for your future? How long are you going to apologize for aging gracefully when you should be celebrating aging powerfully? How long are you going to hide your wisdom behind humility when the world desperately needs your voice? The reason they're staring at you with such confusion isn't just because you look good for your age, it's because you're carrying something that defies their understanding of how life is supposed to work. You've been through storms that should have broken you, betrayals that should have bitter you, losses that should have buried you, and yet here you stand not just intact, but radiant. That's not skin care, beloved. That's soul care. That's not genetics. That's God's hand. That's not luck. That's divine protection manifesting in your physical form. Every line on your face tells a story of survival. Every gray hair is a testimony of wisdom earned through warfare. Every year you've lived is a year the enemy failed to destroy you. And now you're standing as living proof that God's people don't just endure seasons, they emerge from them, transformed. But I need you to understand something crucial tonight. Your appearance isn't just about you. Your glow isn't just for you. Your strength isn't just to benefit you. You have become a walking prophecy, a living testament, a breathing scripture that declares to a youth-obsessed world that God's power doesn't diminish with age, it intensifies. Right now, somewhere in this world, there's a woman who's been told she's past her prime and she needs to see your face. There's a man who's been convinced his best years are over and he needs to witness your strength. There's someone contemplating giving up because they think they're too old to matter, and your very existence is the sermon they need to hear. Do you realize the weight of this responsibility? Do you understand that your refusal to fade quietly into the background isn't just personal rebellion, it's prophetic declaration? You are not just aging, you are ascending. You are not just surviving, you are surprising everyone who counted you out. You are not just getting older, you are getting bolder, wiser, more dangerous to the kingdom of darkness with every passing year. The enemy thought he could wait you out. He thought time was on his side. He thought if he could just weather your storm, eventually you'd burn out, give up, or fade away. But he made a fatal miscalculation. He forgot that those who are planted in the house of the Lord don't just survive, they flourish. He forgot that, like wine, the chosen ones don't spoil with age, they improve. And now he's watching in horror as you step into the most powerful season of your life. Now he's realizing that every year he failed to stop you was another year you were gathering strength, accumulating wisdom, building spiritual muscle that would make you unstoppable in this hour. This is your season of divine reversal. This is your time of supernatural vindication. This is your moment to rise up and declare to every person who wrote you off, I am not done, I am not finished, I am not fading, I am flourishing. The world needs to see what God does with his chosen ones when they refuse to bow to the spirit of the age. They need to witness what happens when someone decides to age not with resignation, but with revelation. They need to see that in God's kingdom, your latter days can be greater than your former days. So I'm asking you right now, will you step into this calling? Will you embrace this divine assignment? Will you stop hiding your light and start shining it boldly? If you're claiming this season of divine reversal, if you're ready to shock the world with what God can do through someone who refuses to be counted out, if you're declaring that your best days are not behind you but ahead of you, drop "crowned" in the comments right now. Share this word with someone who needs to hear it. Let's flood this platform with light. Let's create a movement of the unstoppable, unshakable, unfading chosen ones who are about to turn the world upside down with their latter-day glory. Your crown is waiting. It's time to wear it. But wait, there's something else. Heaven wants you to know tonight. Something darker. Something the enemy hoped you'd never discover. You see, while you've been wondering why people stare at your face like it's defying the laws of nature, while you've been questioning why your glow seems to intensify with each passing year, there's a spiritual war raging that most people can't see. And you, chosen one, you're not just a participant in this war. You're the weapon they never saw coming. The devil isn't losing sleep over who you used to be. He's not haunted by your past mistakes, your former struggles, or even your darkest seasons. No, what terrifies the kingdom of darkness is who you're becoming. What keeps demons in panic mode is the face you're going to have 5 years from now, 10 years from now. Because every day you align with heaven's purpose, every moment you choose faith over fear, every season you refuse to bow to bitterness, you're becoming more dangerous. Scripture tells us in Proverbs 4:18, "The path of the righteous is like the morning sun, shining ever brighter till the full light of day." Did you catch that? Ever brighter, not dimmer, not fading. Brighter. Your future face is going to carry a glory that will make your current glow look like a flickering candle compared to a blazing sun. Think about Moses when he came down from Mount Sinai. Exodus 34:29 says his face was so radiant that the Israelites couldn't even look at him. That wasn't makeup, beloved. That wasn't good genes. That was the residue of divine encounter. That was what happens when a human being gets too close to the source of all light. And here's what the enemy knows that you're just beginning to understand. Every trial you've walked through, every betrayal you've survived, every season of isolation you've endured, it's all been preparation for your Mount Sinai moment. The devil is terrified because he knows something about your destiny that you haven't fully grasped yet. He knows that the older you get, the more dangerous you become. He knows that time isn't your enemy, it's your ally. He knows that while others are counting down to their expiration date, you're counting up to your coronation. But here's where it gets really shocking. The enemy isn't just afraid of your individual transformation. He's terrified of what happens when you realize you're not alone. When you understand that there's an entire generation of chosen ones just like you, walking around looking like time forgot to touch them, glowing like pain never found them, moving like the weight of this world never broke them. Isaiah 60:1 declares, "Arise, shine, for your light has come, and the glory of the Lord rises upon you." That's not past tense, beloved. That's present continuous. Your light has come, and it's still coming. Your glory is rising, and it's still rising. The face you see in the mirror today is just the preview of the masterpiece heaven is still painting. Can you feel that stirring in your spirit right now? That's not coincidence. That's confirmation. That's heaven letting you know that your assignment is bigger than your age, your calling is deeper than your wrinkles, and your purpose is stronger than time itself. The religious folks tried to convince you that getting older meant getting smaller. The world tried to sell you the lie that your best days were behind you. But what if I told you that everything you've been through was just God preparing your face to carry a glory that would blind the darkness? What if your wrinkles aren't signs of decay but roadmaps of divine encounters? What if every year you've survived has been adding another layer of supernatural radiance that the enemy simply cannot dim? Here's what's about to happen, and the kingdom of darkness is in full panic mode because of it. You're about to step into a season where your very presence disrupts demonic assignments, where your face becomes a weapon that breaks generational curses just by showing up, where your age becomes your advantage because you've learned to wear your years like armor instead of burdens. The enemy thought he could wait you out. He thought if he attacked you long enough, hard enough, consistently enough, eventually you'd break. Eventually, you'd fade. Eventually, you'd give up and just accept that your time was over. But what he didn't count on was the supernatural mathematics of divine destiny. Every attack he sent made you stronger. Every setback he orchestrated made you wiser. Every season he meant for your destruction became fertilizer for your elevation. And now he's watching in horror as his greatest fear materializes before his eyes. A generation of chosen ones who refuse to fade, who refuse to shrink, who refuse to accept the world's timeline for their expiration. Chosen ones who are glowing brighter with each passing year, whose faces are becoming more radiant, whose presence is becoming more powerful. This is why your age and your looks have shocked everyone. This is why they can't stop staring. This is why they look at you like you're breaking the laws of physics, because you are. You're operating under heaven's laws now, and heaven's laws say that the righteous flourish like palm trees, that they bear fruit even in old age, that they stay fresh and green. But, beloved, what I've shared with you tonight is just the beginning. In my next word, I'm going to reveal the specific strategy the enemy is using right now to try to stop your future transformation. I'm going to show you exactly why he's not scared of your past, he's terrified of your future face. And I'm going to give you the prophetic blueprint for what's coming next in your supernatural aging process. Because what you've experienced so far is nothing compared to what's about to unfold. The glow you have now is just the warm-up. The radiance you carry today is just the preview. Your future face is going to carry a glory that will make demons flee and angels applaud. If this word has stirred something deep in your spirit, if you can feel heaven confirming this message in your heart, then make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell, because you cannot afford to miss what's coming next. This isn't just inspirational content, this is prophetic intelligence for the final battle. And you, chosen one, you're not just a participant, You're the secret weapon heaven has been preparing for such a time as this. Your best days aren't behind you, they're blazing ahead of you, and your future face is going to prove it. Remember what I told you? They thought time would humble you. Instead, it crowned you. Well, today you're going to see why heaven didn't just crown you. It put you on display. You see, chosen one, there's something happening to you that's making the enemy panic. Something that's got the principalities and powers in spiritual realms scrambling for answers. Because when God decides to showcase his power through human flesh, when he decides to make a statement about his ability to reverse what seems irreversible, he doesn't whisper it, he displays it. And you, dear soul, you are the display. What's coming next will not just shock them, it will shift you. Let me ask you something that's going to cut deep into your spirit right now. Have you noticed how people pause when they see you? How their conversations stop mid-sentence? How they tilt their heads like they're trying to solve a mystery written in your very presence? That's not accident. That's not genetics. That's not good skincare. That's God showing off. The Bible tells us in Isaiah 43:21, "This people I have formed for myself. They will proclaim my praise." But here's what most people miss. Sometimes God's praise isn't proclaimed through your mouth. Sometimes it's proclaimed through your face. Sometimes your very existence becomes the sermon that no pulpit could contain. You've been walking through life like a lighthouse in fog. Now the fog is about to burn away, and the ships that mocked your light will have to sail toward you for rescue. But let's get real about what's really happening here, because while they're staring at your face, wondering how you've defied every rule they thought governed aging, there's a deeper truth unfolding. You're not just aging differently, you're aging prophetically. Every line they expected to see but didn't find is a line God erased with his finger. Every grey hair that should be there but isn't is God's signature on a canvas they thought they understood. Every moment of vitality they assumed you'd lost is God's testimony that his strength is made perfect in what the world calls weakness. See, the enemy had a plan for your face. He had a timeline for your decline. He had a strategy to make you invisible by making you look like every other person who's walked this earth for your number of years. But God said, "Not this one. This one carries my glory, and glory doesn't fade, it intensifies." You know why this is happening now? You know why God is choosing this season to showcase his power through your physical presence? Because we're living in an hour when the world has made an idol out of youth. When society has convinced entire generations that value decreases with age, that beauty has an expiration date, that purpose has a shelf life. And God is using your face to shatter that lie. If you're ready for the next layer of this prophecy, type "next level" in the comments so the algorithm keeps this in front of every chosen one who's been in hiding. But here's where it gets even more intense. The reason they can't stop staring isn't just because you look younger than your years. It's because you look like you've accessed something they've been denied. You look like you've been drinking from a well they can't find. You look like you've been touched by a force they can't name. And they're right. Psalm 103:5 says, "God satisfies your desires with good things, so that your youth is renewed like the eagle's." But most people read that as metaphor. God meant it literally. When you align with his purposes, when you surrender to his process, when you stop fighting his plan and start flowing with his power, something supernatural happens to your cellular structure. Science calls it unexplainable. God calls it normal. The world taught them that aging means decay. But you're walking proof that aging can mean ascension. They were taught that time steals, but you're demonstrating that time, when surrendered to the right hands, gives back with interest. This is why they look at you with confusion mixed with conviction. Because your presence is a living contradiction to everything they've been programmed to believe. You're a walking, breathing disruption to their understanding of how life is supposed to work. But here's what's about to blow your mind. What you think is happening to you accidentally is actually happening to you strategically. God didn't preserve your youth to make you comfortable. He preserved it to make you dangerous. You're not just aging gracefully, you're aging with assignment. Every year you don't look your age is another year the enemy's plans get disrupted. Every moment you glow instead of grey is another moment his timeline gets interrupted. You see, the devil had you scheduled for decline. He had you penciled in for deterioration. He was counting on your external appearance matching the internal attacks he's been sending your way for years. But God said, I'm going to make their outside contradict their inside pain. I'm going to make their face preach a sermon their mouth never has to speak. And now the enemy is looking at his calendar, looking at his strategy, looking at his carefully laid plans, and none of it makes sense anymore. Because you were supposed to be bitter by now. You were supposed to be broken by now. You were supposed to be invisible by now. Instead, you're radiant. Instead, you're rising. Instead, you're becoming more magnetic with every year they thought would diminish you. But the question that's burning in the spiritual realm right now, the question that's got heaven leaning forward and hell stepping back is this. What happens when you finally realize that your face isn't just defying aging, it's declaring war? But hold on, chosen one. Stop right there. Because while you're sitting there marveling at your own transformation, while you're finally accepting that yes, you do look different, yes, you do carry something that defies explanation, yes, you have somehow become living proof that God's timeline doesn't bow to man's calendar, you've fallen into a trap. A beautiful, seductive, deadly trap. You've been thinking this strength, this radiance, this preservation is just for you to enjoy. That's the lie the enemy whispers when he can't stop what God started. Congratulations, you survived. Now go live your best life. You've earned it. Enjoy your glow. Savor your victory. You've paid your dues. That's the trap your preservation was. Preparation. Your survival wasn't the destination. It was the launching pad. Your beauty wasn't the blessing. It was the weapon. Your longevity wasn't the reward. It was the assignment wrapped in flesh that refuses to fade. Look at me. Too many chosen ones stop at survival and never step into assignment. They get comfortable in their comeback. They fall in love with their own resurrection and forget that resurrection power wasn't given for personal pleasure. It was given for kingdom purpose. You think Esther's beauty was just so she could feel good about herself. You think her preservation in that palace, her favor with the king, her ability to maintain her radiance under pressure was just divine self-care. Listen to the word. And who knows but that you have come to your royal position for such a time as this. Esther 4:14. Her beauty was a weapon. Her position was a trap, not for her but for the enemy of her people. Every day she maintained her appearance. Every moment she carried herself with grace under the weight of a secret that could have killed her. She was being positioned for one defining moment when everything would depend on whether she had stewarded her gift or squandered it. Joseph didn't endure 13 years of slavery and false accusations just so he could enjoy being second in command of Egypt. His preservation through betrayal, his ability to maintain his integrity when everything around him was corrupt, his supernatural wisdom that made him irreplaceable that wasn't for Joseph's comfort, that was for famine relief. Genesis 50:20, you intended to harm me, but God intended it for good to accomplish what is now being done, the saving of many lives. Many lives, chosen one. Not just his life, many lives. And here you are, walking around with a face that shouldn't look this good after what you've been through, carrying peace that shouldn't be possible after what they put you through, radiating joy that defies every statistic about people your age, in your situation, with your history. You think that's just for you? You think God preserved you through depression just so you could be happy? You think he kept your mind sharp through betrayal just so you could enjoy clarity? You think he maintained your strength through heartbreak just so you could feel powerful? Wake up. Every line that didn't form on your face is a testimony waiting to be shared. Every grey hair that came in silver instead of bitter is a crown meant to inspire others. Every pound you didn't gain from stress eating is stamina reserved for the battles you're going to help others fight. Your preservation is proof that God still has work for you to do. And if you're sitting there thinking, well, I've done enough, I've suffered enough, I've given enough, now it's my time to rest and enjoy what I've built, you're about to waste the very thing that cost heaven everything to give you. Look around you. Look at your generation giving up on marriage, giving up on faith, giving up on purpose. Look at the younger ones, drowning in depression, anxiety, confusion about their identity, their calling, their worth. Look at the ones coming behind you who have no roadmap for resilience, no blueprint for breakthrough, no example of what it looks like to age with grace instead of bitterness. They need to see you, not hiding in your house enjoying your private victory, not keeping your glow to yourself like some secret garden. They need to see what preserved looks like. They need to see what sustained looks like. They need to see what it looks like when someone refuses to let life make them ugly on the inside. Chosen one, as we come to the close of this word, let me remind you of what heaven whispered through every moment we've shared together. You are not an accident of time. Your preservation, your glow, your strength that defies every statistic, this isn't just divine favor, it's divine strategy. God didn't keep you beautiful, radiant, and resilient just so you could enjoy it in private. He preserved you as a living testimony, a walking miracle, proof that his timeline doesn't bow to man's calendar. Remember this, your age is not your limitation, it's your qualification. Every year you've survived has been a year of preparation. Every storm you've weathered has been training for the assignment that's calling your name right now. You are not too old to start. You are not too late to matter. You are not past your prime, you are stepping into it. And I need you to understand something that might change everything. You are not walking this path alone. The same God who preserved your face has preserved your future. The same power that kept you from breaking is the same power that's about to break you through. You serve a God who specializes in the impossible, who delights in using the overlooked, and who has never once forgotten your name. There's a community here, a family of believers who understand what it means to feel unseen, underestimated, written off by a world that worships youth. But we see you, God sees you, and every person watching this message right now is evidence that you are surrounded by a cloud of witnesses who are cheering for your breakthrough. So let me ask you this, and I want you to really think about this question. If God has preserved you this long through everything you've faced, what is he preserving you for? What assignment is waiting for your yes? What life is waiting for your testimony? What miracle is waiting for your willingness to stop hiding and start shining? Let me pray over you right now, and I want you to receive this prayer like it's coming from someone who's been where you are, who understands the weight you carry, and who believes with everything in their spirit that your best days are not behind you, they're ahead of you. Father, I lift up every chosen one hearing this word right now. You see them, Lord. You see the ones who have been counted out, written off, told they're past their prime. You see the ones who look in the mirror and wonder if their best days are behind them. You see the ones who have been preserving their strength, their beauty, their wisdom, not knowing it was all preparation for this moment. God, I pray that you would open their eyes to see what you see when you look at them. Help them understand that their preservation was never about personal comfort, it was about kingdom assignment. Give them the courage to step out of hiding and into the light. Give them the boldness to stop apologizing for taking up space and start claiming the territory you've prepared for them. Break every lie that says they're too old, too late, too tired. Breathe fresh vision into their spirit, restore their sense of purpose, reignite their passion, and surround them with people who will call forth the greatness you've placed inside them. Use them, Lord. Use their testimony. Use their preservation. Use their glow as a weapon against hopelessness. Let their very presence become proof that you are still in the miracle business. In Jesus' mighty name, Amen. Now, chosen one, I need you to do something for me. Drop a comment below and tell me what assignment you feel stirring in your spirit. What is God calling you to step into? Don't worry about having all the details. Just share what you're sensing. Let this community pray with you and cheer you on. And if this word touched your heart, if you felt the Holy Spirit moving through these words, please share this message with someone who needs to hear it. There's another chosen one scrolling through their phone right now, feeling invisible, thinking their time has passed. Your share might be the very thing that saves their hope. Thank you for staying with me through this entire message. Your presence here matters. Your story matters. You matter. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and join this family of believers who refuse to let age define their assignment. Your preservation was never the destination. It was preparation for your greatest chapter yet. Stay blessed, stay bold, and remember your time is now.